Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic. And hope you're all having an absolutely incredible day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So I was actually kind of surprised that this even made it to the news. This is kind of like old school Bitcoin. It's something that we still have, but I know that it needs to be worked on. If we ever actually, now let's be realistic here. If we ever plan on hitting any of those 10, 15, 20 million dollar Bitcoin price predictions. A new collaborative effort spearheaded by Lightning infrastructure company LNFI, or I assume Lightning Fi, who knows, intends to accelerate the adoption of the Lightning network. Lightning is something that exists that we simply do not hear about ever that often. It's just the way that things currently are. Around 2018, the idea was that Bitcoin adoption was going great. However, people were not using their Bitcoin except for trading their Bitcoin. We began to hear that there were some companies who were getting into the Bitcoin space, who were buying it, but there was no intention of actually using it as a normal currency. So I think in 2017, at the height of the bull market, I think Bitcoin transaction fees were around $27. I remember saying 27 in a video because I think I saw it somewhere. Doesn't really matter. So Lightning came about as this idea where basically, in terms that we know now, you would stake your Bitcoin in the Lightning network and open up a payment channel. So let's say you put a tenth of a Bitcoin, 0.1 Bitcoin, and staked it into the Lightning network. Basically, anyone who wants to use their Bitcoin in a faster, more cost-efficient way would use your highway. That's kind of the idea. They would use the lane that you've opened. And basically, you would have to have the transaction value be less than 0.1 Bitcoin. A number of years ago, 7 years ago, this seemed a little bit weird because everyone's like, well, what if my transaction costs more than $2,000? The idea ends up being if Bitcoin continues rising in price, then of course the numbers end up separating from themselves. If we have $1 million Bitcoin and you have a tenth of a Bitcoin staked inside of the Lightning network, then ergo anything less than $100,000 equivalent would be able to move instantaneously through the Lightning network. And the idea of staking it comes from if you have it locked into the Lightning network, you're basically being paid a transaction fee to have people run on your highway. This is the idea of it. It became more popular in late 2018, early 2019, when we heard that the New York Stock Exchange was looking to get into the cryptocurrency space, and they were creating something called Bakkt, B-A-K-K-T, the now unused, relatively defunct kind of extra system that they created, where they announced that they were going to create their own cryptocurrency exchange. It didn't happen. They announced that they were going to be launching Bitcoin futures, and I think after 4 months, they had zero interest. Very famous news story. The interest was literally $0. Not even a joke. And then they announced that they were going to help the development of the Bitcoin Lightning Network with the Gemini twins and another company called Holland. I don't know what this thing was called. It's one of those let's mix up the letters to make it seem cool kind of companies. That's what we had a couple of years ago. That also, as according to the news, ended up going nowhere. This is news that we also got where they were partnering. You might remember they partnered with Starbucks. They partnered with Nordstrom. They partnered with, I think, Uber and Lyft and a bunch of other companies who were also going to be starting to accept Bitcoin. For some reason, it went nowhere. And I mean, to be lightly fair, this was news at the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, tumultuous and garbage. And you know what happened over the course of the last couple of years, but now we're hearing about the Lightning Network again, and they kind of need to get it right. Once again, As I am not a developer, I do not make any of these things. I cannot sit here and point a finger and go, you need to do this faster. But if we want like extra Bitcoin adoption and for people to actually use their coins, this is where this actually comes in. Even in the article, it explains that all is not good in Lightning Land, and it's kind of at the moment the only proposal that we have to make Bitcoin, if you will, lightning fast. Leveraging the progress of novel protocols such as Taproot Assets and Nostr, the Lightning Network Alliance, that sounds very dystopian. The Lightning Network Alliance hopes to mobilize industry partners and contribute to standards around the growing Bitcoin ecosystem. A recent community discussion organized by UTXO Management highlighted the group's ambition to promote the emergence of this new Lightning-based interoperable financial market. It gets weirder, I promise you. Behind this initiative, Darius from LightningFi explained his motivation. He said, "Today, the entire Lightning ecosystem is rather fragmented. There are all sorts of standards and protocols out there. The Lightning Network Alliance is there to feature everyone and create enough exposure and awareness of existing Bitcoin, Lightning, and Nostr projects on top of these standards. So hopefully we can advance forward as a joint community." Now, forgive me for not having known this. You know how like on Bitcoin, it's just like Bitcoin is the blockchain. You know how like Ethereum is the blockchain and like only Ethereum exists. You can have other stuff on top of it, but that's kind of what it is. I thought that the Lightning Network was just the Lightning Network. I thought it was a bunch of like unopened roads that you could kind of, because I remember hearing before that there was like a maximum amount of people who could do this. I think it was like 100,000 people were able to stake their Bitcoin in this. I think that's what it was. I didn't understand that you could write other protocols and other standards on top of this thing that someone else created. This gets us back to a JP Morgan coin kind of situation. So years ago, JP Morgan, lying through their teeth and their eyeballs, announced that they didn't care for Bitcoin or any kind of crypto, which we know is a complete lie now. And they announced that they were going to be making their own coin called JP Morgan coin. Sure, fantastic. The issue is that they said that other banks would have to use their coin. The problem is other banks didn't want to use their coin. So they were working on a Bank of America coin, a coin, and all these other kinds of things. And it became incredibly interoperable as no one would budge or give way with their own coins. And I didn't realize that that's what Lightning was as well. I thought the Lightning Network was simply a network that was already established that would allow for people around the world to stake their Bitcoin inside of the network, to be able to open up roads, to allow this almost like a spider web, like a net in some sort of way that was constantly interconnected. The fact that people are super greedy. People found out on the Lightning Network you could create your own standards and your own protocols. They want people to use theirs. Who thought this was a good idea? Why would you create something where people can create other things on top of the thing that you created and ignore the thing that you've created? So the Lightning Network Alliance is apparently a group of people who are trying to show people the existing framework. And I guess, and I can't even begin to imagine what this actually looks like behind the scenes. I assumed when we had news before, for those of you who missed it, Binance, I believe, supports the Lightning Network, as does Coinbase, a bunch of other crypto exchanges. But I assumed they were all using the exact same thing as Backed, which lets me know that the New York Stock Exchange was trying to create their own protocol in their own section, their own corner of the Lightning Network to try and get people to use that one. And when people probably didn't branch onto them, their entire initiative completely fell apart. It's just such a weird place. People keep making, one of the problems with crypto, and I can say this as someone who's been in this market for a very long time. One of the problems with this market is that people create stuff and they don't care about what happens after. It's a and it's not just Lightning. And I mean, it's multiple different chains, it's multiple different protocols. Over the years, we've had hundreds of proposals for things about Bitcoin and with Bitcoin and side chains and third chains and other layers and dangling chains. You name it. It's all been there. So many of these things get created, but there's never an initiative to try and actually like form any type of unity. There's so much fragmentation, not only in the market, but also in the people who are making things. Did any of you logically think, imagine hearing that you can stake your Ether on the Ethereum network, but you have to like choose the right corner to sit in with people, or your coins won't be staked properly. Like you need to literally find the proper mining pool that has linked and joined hands with other mining pools, because several other 100 mining pools haven't. It doesn't make any sense. This is why a lot of times you'll hear me say, when it comes to, I don't care what coin it is. If we hear that this coin has a partnership, or the creators keep coming out with news and they're like, we have Chapupala update, and I'm like, okay, prove it. Do it, release it, and show us the actual partnerships. And then no one ends up using these things. A lot of these protocols are made, they're so janky. They're made, literally completely just to say that something has been made. These things don't work out, but then it doesn't enter the news that these things don't work out. There are always developers, and I get that a lot of people might not be reading like developer news, but this was really big years ago when it came to the blockchain IOTA. Like the Tangle. They said that they don't have a blockchain, they have a Tangle. And people looked through, like all these developers were looking through it, and they were like, this doesn't work. Like, mathematically, like this doesn't fit together. And then the whole protocol ended up disappearing. And it's like, people keep creating things in this space to say that they've created something or that they're doing something, but then they don't actually do anything with what they said that they were going to do. And it leaves a lot of people who are in these projects kind of like disenfranchised, or, like they sit there and go, well, what happened to the thing that we heard was going to launch before? It doesn't make any sense. Like there should have been some kind of unity from the get-go, but of course you're going to have people who jump into the space who of course don't want to work with everyone else because they're trying to corner the entire market for themselves. And then they end up making everything completely, so as of right now, the most popular things that we have for Bitcoin are Liquid and Lightning. And you never hear about Liquid. Liquid Network is basically the Lightning network, but for crypto exchanges, so that they can send Bitcoin quicker between themselves, and I guess also some people who are also on the Liquid network. And then you have Lightning. It's kind of the other proposal. So this is also probably why you hear like a lot of flip-flopping from a lot of people. One day you hear them talking about Bitcoin as only a gold standard kind of thing. And then the other people on the other side are talking about Bitcoin as like a daily usage kind of thing. Bitcoin is never going to get to proper everyday daily usage because the Lightning network is the only proposal that we have, unless we actually have the Lightning network. There's nothing else that's been proposed, nothing else that's been created, and now they had to form like a new weird dystopian alliance to try and literally like, hey, that already exists. You should use that one that we created before, because we've had that one for a while. There's such a lack of unity. It's so incredibly odd. But not that even it. We see that there's a lack of unity in the world. Got it. Cool. Been living here for a while. I completely understand that. But so much of crypto paints itself as this like loving community, and it's not. It's such a weird space. Like so much like internal fighting. We don't hear about it this as much anymore with Bitcoin. But years ago, people were fighting like literally like for what upgrades should be on Bitcoin. And then people complain, well, I don't want that. I don't want the upgrade. And then they were creating forks of Bitcoin, trying to destroy the ecosystem so that their new crappy coin could become the number one thing that no one was going to use. It's this really weird kind of loop. So I hope it works out. I hope it, continues moving along, because if we can be honest with ourselves, the only real use for Bitcoin now is buying it and holding it and trading it, or governments buying it and holding it and mining it, and potentially at some point in the future linking a fiat currency to it. If we want real adoption, We need Lightning everywhere. There are apps already that use it, but we need this like everywhere. Every store, every single place has to kind of get with it, because heaven forbid should we hit a $1 million Bitcoin and the only way to use it is by selling it. It's crazy to think about. So yeah, I was surprised to see this news. I hope that it actually ends up working out. There's so much more that needs to be worked on. It's not that I'm rushing it, but it's like, you know, at a certain point, you got to be like, okay, well, you promised this 7 years ago. So let's see where that ends up going. That's the Lightning Network news. We'll see if anything ends up happening, because I assumed things were happening. And yeah, let's move on. So we had this news before, and I thought it was a joke, and then I realized that it wasn't a joke. And then I became a little bit annoyed because it wasn't a joke, and now apparently the joke has completely come to fruition because it wasn't a joke. Metaverse-centric platform called The Sandbox has purchased 6 what they call major meme coins in an effort to provide utility to its own users and the wider meme coin collective. Let me try to unbox this for all of you. The Sandbox was very popular in 2021, as was Decentraland. These metaverse places that had some kind of attention, some kind of popularity. We haven't heard anything about them in a while. I go over daily news, have not seen any Sandbox news, have not heard any metaverse news, all these kinds of things. About 4 or 5 months ago, I want to say that's the time frame, maybe a little bit shorter, the Sandbox people announced that they were going to try to help the crypto community in a bunch of different ways. And the news ended up being that they were going to allegedly spend a large amount of money on meme coins. You might remember, because I also got annoyed during that video as well. The meme coin idea is that they see these communities of people who just want to have fun in the cryptocurrency space, and therefore, you know, meme coins. So we're going to buy some meme coins to meme coin with them as well. This reminded me very quickly of a number of years ago, where multiple cryptocurrency projects, but there was one in particular. It was Tron, who kept on coming forward in the news anytime that there was any kind of hype within the space, Tron would respond. People are buying security coins. Tron is going to buy security coins. People are downloading movies and music online. Tron is going to buy a platform where people download music and movies online. Someone's making music. Tron is going to, and it was this over and over and over. And the issue is that Tron continued to lose an egregious amount of money. You might remember, this is when I was like, this project seems like a huge load of garbage. And that was mainly because the news that we were getting is that they were buying websites and buying protocols and buying other things for hundreds of millions of dollars. That's not a fake number. It was literally, we're going to spend $99 million on this website and this protocol. We're going to create another new coin that you didn't ask for, and we're buying another platform and another website to do this as well. This is going to cost $50 million. And this was happening around the point when a lot of the protocols, a lot of the different chains and stuff like that were losing, you know, US dollar value. It was 2018, 2019. And a lot of crypto companies were complaining. We don't have enough money because everyone for some reason thought that the 2017 bull run was going to last forever. Money would continue flowing their way. And this is why we saw a lot of protocols disappear. Same exact thing in 2021 is the reason why you don't hear about a lot of coins, because these coins and these protocols and these websites and these other developments, they pop up, try to get you excited, and then they poof, completely disappear. So what Tron ended up doing, as far as I can understand, and back in the, when all these protocols were having issues, is they were like, guys, we need some support from the community. And I was like, you spent hundreds of millions of dollars on garbage. Even from a basic investing standpoint, if you had bought real estate with that money, the money you would have gotten per month from the rent would have been enough to sustain multiple different projects and things that you were doing. And don't even get me started on the guy who created Tron. Didn't he spend like $2 million on a lunch with Warren Buffett that never ended up happening? It's complete nonsense. Meme coins right now are kind of the name of the game. They're the new thing. So normally we always have like a 3-letter thing that ends up popping up and makes everyone really happy. And oh yeah, crypto market. It's now meme coins. I've already told you before, these coins are literal garbage. Please proceed with caution. They're not being adopted by anyone, by any group, by any institution. They're not being used by government. There's never going to be a point. If there is, I will make a video. I promise you. There's never going to be a point in your life when you're walking around the city that you live in. And like when you have to run errands and you have to go to like 5 different shops where you're going to hear, hey, we only accept Doge as payment. It's not going to be a thing. These coins, you know how like I say like, any extra money that you have after you've paid your bills, your light, your gas, your rent, all these other things, that extra money that you have that would have gone to you eating out, that's the money that you use to put into crypto. Cool. Now, at the end of the meal, you know how like when you pay, if you pay in cash and like they'll give you like the extra change that you paid back, like that's the change that you put into meme coins. We've gotten to the point where people are unable to discern, to figure out what an actual good coin is and what an actual bad coin is. And that's because of a lot of the hype and stuff that we always see every single market cycle within the cryptocurrency space. When prices are going down, you won't hear about it. The moment prices are going back up, there's always something that pops up that you're being told that you need to buy, that you need to get into, because it's going to be the new, amazing, awesome, wonderful thing. There's multiple, but there's one that sticks out in my head. There's one cryptocurrency news website. Every day, these people are constantly posting this new blank coin on Solana they're saying it's going to go up by 14,000%. Are you ready? The next day, this new coin blank is gonna go up by 27,000%. Are you ready? And you can see sometimes like metrics on different websites, like how many clicks they've gotten from the actual article that they've made. It's tens of thousands of people every single day who are clicking on these things, believing that these crappy coins are going to, bring wealth and fortune to them. You hear about the money that people made with Dogecoin. What you don't understand is that the people who made money on Dogecoin were holding it since 2013. That is 2013. We got to the point where almost a decade later, the people who were still holding on to it had forgot about it. The price went up. These people then became millionaires. It took a very long time. It's not this instantaneous thing, because when these people are creating these coins, the vast majority of them are rugs immediately. When the price does go up, the people who sell and who gets rid of them are the people who created the coins. So it made me angry because there are actual real projects that could use money within the cryptocurrency space. We don't hear about them as often. It's kind of like a number of years ago, for those of you who were not here, Ethereum almost disappeared. This was 2015, 2016. Ethereum wasn't doing well. They were a protocol. They came out. They had some fanfare, but the crypto market was going down. Prices weren't going up, and they wrote online. I remember this. They wrote online, guys, like we don't have that much money anymore. And people had to literally donate money to them in the form of Bitcoin to kind of keep them afloat. So since the space has expanded, there are dozens of smaller companies and groups of people who are trying to create actual protocols that will do great things within the space. They don't have enough funding. So to hear that the Sandbox, who we also haven't heard from for a good year and a half or 2 years, spent money on meme coins because they're trying to show some kind of like buddy kind, like, look, you're invested in crappy coins. Look at the kind of coins that we're also invested in. It's such a, the word's not a deflect, but it's like, it's causing people to actually not pay attention to what the real things are in the market. A lot of people have this fantasy. I mean, it's a crazy fantasy that a lot of meme coins are going to like be as big as Bitcoin. Understand the words that I'm saying. There are people who think that Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and all the other plethora of coins that have come out on Solana could go to Bitcoin's valuation. How do I know this? Because it's the same stuff that used to happen in 2016, 2017. These new coins come out, and it's very easy to get you. They have a website, they have a platform, they go on to Twitter, and they tell other people, look how much Bitcoin is worth. We can do the exact same thing as long as we have the community. And then they get tons of people to like throw their money into this thing. The coin ends up disappearing. No one really cares about it. 6 weeks later, there's another brand new thing that ends up popping up. These coins are popular because other people keep saying that they're popular. People keep posting on Twitter like these really weird charts showing like a, like the up and down patterns, but then there's like one gigantic green candle and they're like, are you ready for this crappy altcoin to go there? And it's like, that's not going to happen. It's such a weird space and idea. And I understand that you would do this, and I dare say like for the lulz, like you do this for to be funny, to, join into the meme coin thing. But it's detrimental to the entirety of the space. There was someone a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if it was Mike, no, I don't remember who it was. It was someone who was on TV, and they were like, yeah, we have like too many meme coins. And people were like, no, you don't understand the space. And it's like, no, you don't understand the space. If you are begging for people to get into this space, if you are begging for money to enter this market, if you are talking about you are happy with the institutions throwing their weight around, they look at a market that they want to get into. If they see that 95% of the market is garbage, they're wary of it. All they see on the news, people can't differentiate between what a good coin and what a bad coin actually is. If you look on the news and you see 47 meme coins have completely collapsed and most of them were rug pulls, I don't care what institution you are, you go, no, I'm okay. This was our issue back in 2018, 2019. Bitcoin Cash got created and Bitcoin's price fell in half. And they were asking people, there were all these, surveys, why were people selling? Because people didn't understand that Bitcoin was the number one coin. Like literally like on the rankings was number one, and that you couldn't replicate it. They thought that Bitcoin had literally split into another Bitcoin number one, another Bitcoin number one. They didn't get that Bitcoin Cash was another coin entirely. Institutions began looking at the space around 2018, and then all of a sudden, Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision, ends up popping up. Bitcoin's price fell by 50% once again. A literal, like you can look at the charts, a literal 50% over the course of a couple of hours. Because people within the space also didn't understand that BSV was not BTC. It just creates confusion. People get into this market and they don't do any kind of due diligence. People don't learn. People don't look around for anything. They just assume the answer is always going to be in front of them. So when you think that way and you hear that someone says, hey, we just bought a whole bunch of meme coins, you should too. The new people who were expecting to also get into the market, like the rush after Bitcoin is pumping and goes over 80,000, 90,000, 100,000, they enter the market and they don't know what's going on. That's the idea, once again, of crypto vanity that we keep going back to over and over, because you have a lot of people who don't, there are people who still don't get that you don't have to own an entire Bitcoin, that you can own fragments of a Bitcoin. The problem is that's not prestigious enough. People keep talking online, and I keep seeing on Twitter whenever I scroll by, there's always someone's asking a question. Is 15,000 XRP enough? Should I have this many of this coin? It's always like a huge figure of a certain altcoin that has like billions of coins. It's because no one writes a post that says, is half an ether enough? Because it doesn't seem, rich, nice, wealthy enough. Most people aren't going to say, hey, is 0.09 Bitcoin enough to have? People want the bigger numbers to be able to brag to other people. The problem is that these coins, they do exactly what you need. They pop out and they show you, look how many coins we have. You can own 100 million of this crappy coin. If the coin goes to $1, bro, you're worth $100 million. People don't understand market caps. They don't understand that these coins have no usage. Like, the reason why Bitcoin has $1 trillion market cap is because it's being used. The reason why Ethereum has a multi-billion-dollar market cap is because it's being used by tons of industry leaders around the world. When you look at some of these coins and people keep conflating the idea of a market cap to actual value, you're not understanding what's going on. This is why I always say you need to look for the actual usage of the coin. The metrics are all there. That was a problem years ago with Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's vision. People found out that 99% of the usage was coming from a weather app. Someone created a weather app and for some reason integrated it to make it seem like it was being used. And 99% of its usage was from that. It had a multi-million-dollar market cap and people were like, what are you talking? This coin is being used. It was people wash trading back and forth. It was literally, people even found the same exact thing for Bcash, Bitcoin Cash. You can find the article. This, I want to say maybe 2018, 2019. There were two different wallet addresses that were sending like cents, C-E-N-T-S, like, not a dollar, but cents, back and forth between themselves using bots in rapid succession to make it seem as if there was more usage. But the problem is, on block explorers, you can literally see all the transactions that are happening and people were taking screenshots. There were tens of thousands of transactions per day between two addresses going back and forth to make it seem like people were using that coin. It's so easy to like blindside people and to make them think that something is happening that isn't happening. And this is the problem, getting back to it, why I have a problem with this entire like meme coin thing. It wasn't enough to have one dog coin. We have to have 15 of them. And even you might remember, we even got to the point where we got Shiba Inu and I was like, okay, we're here. We have another one. And I was like, you know what? Shiba Inu's not that bad because at least they have a team. The team is constantly posting. There's always Shiba Inu news. They're trying to develop. They have their own metaverse. They have their own NFT platform. They have all these different things. At least they're trying to do something. And then a whole bunch of other ones come out and everyone completely goes insane for these coins. And it's like, what are you doing to your portfolio? What are you doing to your wallet? You're so desperate to try. Pay attention to the news that's constantly in front of you. What are the institutions buying? What are the institutions getting into? Where's the real money going to? And you see a post on Twitter that says Solana meme coin going up by 70. Oh, okay, that's the crap I need to buy. Oh, I'm broke again. There's I forgot the name of this Twitter page. It keeps popping up every now and again. And like, it looks like people not telling secrets, but like talking about things that are, that have happened to them within the space. And they're posting the things that people have said. And one of them recently, some guy wrote, I took out not a mortgage. I took out a huge loan to get into the cryptocurrency market. People were talking about that all the meme coins were going to like super pump. And I put all the money into it expecting, to make, riches really quick. The market ended up going down. I can barely pay the repayments. My wife doesn't know. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. What dimension are you living in? That's the same exact problem that we had in 2017 when people were going for Mt. Gox. Not Mt. Gox. BitConnect. These things are, they're scams. Looking at it, it's a scam, but the problem is you think that you're at the top of the pyramid every single time. This is how they get you. There were all these videos, you can still find them, of these people sitting at home, walking solemnly outside, or sitting in their cars crying. One guy, this guy always sticks out in my head. He was like, yeah, I think he took his daughter's college fund, if I remember correctly. And he used that money to push into BitConnect because people kept on telling him that BitConnect was it, Bitcoin. And I remember back then, you wouldn't believe, if you look at my comment section, sometimes people are vicious and weird and mean and evil. Back then, and they were even worse. People were saying crazy things to me because I wasn't promoting BitConnect. There were all these YouTubers. They were making 5 Bitcoin a day, 7 Bitcoin a day, 2.5 Bitcoin per day because they were scamming people. And it was so obvious that it was a pyramid scheme. And these people were at the top of the pyramid. And everyone kept on throwing money into BitConnect and they couldn't get their money out. But people weren't talking about the fact that they couldn't get their money out. They could only put their money in. You know, these things are, I mean, can we be, they're called meme coins. You want it to be called joke coins? Fake coins? Do you need another English word to be able to really understand exactly what's going on? If you have some weird money that, you know, I really like this dog coin because it has a red face and it has 3 ears, and you have extra money, you have an extra $20 at the end of the month that you're like, listen, I was going to throw this out the window anyway. That's what you put into these coins. You do not put your hard-earned money. Have people completely lost it? I think they have. I think it's like a next level of like ultra desperation within this market of people. You will ignore actual big news constantly about any. Remember years ago, I used to always say this. Every day, Bitcoin was in the news. And I mean 18, 19, 2020, 2021, 2022, every day Bitcoin was in the news. Every single day. Bitcoin drops down to $3,000, goes to $70,000. And I remember people being like, well, I'm still not going to buy any Bitcoin. And I was like, you probably shouldn't be in crypto. You literally should probably not be in any form of finance. Multiple people years ago, I'm never buying XRP. I'm like, what? Do you understand what it means to have a partnership with central banks? Yeah, but I'm going to buy this coin. How did that work out for you? The Sandbox purchased Pepe coin, Shiba Inu, a coin that is literally called meme, another coin called Degen, Dogecoin, and Bonk. They said to support their specific communities and provide utility to both our users and wider meme coin collective. How exactly are you providing utility by buying a coin? They're doing it because they're trying to get you hyped that they bought it. So when these coin prices go up, they're holding and then they sell. What wider meme coin collective are you talking about? Is there a castle somewhere where people are only existing and living off of meme coins? Is that the collective you're talking about? The space is crazy. Please, for the love of goodness, remain as diligent as humanly possible. If it smells like a duck and looks like a duck, it's a duck. I sincerely don't get it. It's so odd. I've been through this. You might notice even like more recently, I'm getting like a little bit more intense in my videos. I'm not perfect. I try to always pay attention to something that happened before so I don't make the same mistake that I made or that others made. I'll tell you right now, when I walk down the street and I'm listening to a podcast or music, I keep the volume always below 25% because I met people when I was younger who used to blast their cassette tapes, and I had to scream talking to these people. They told me, they were like, don't make the same mistake that I did. Keep your volume low because I can barely hear. People who went to concerts stood by the music as it was blasting out. Now they can't hear, so I make sure to keep my music low. I had one family member who told me when they were younger, they used to go outside in shorts when it was freezing cold because they thought it looked cool. They wanted people, look at them wearing shorts. And now they have terrible arthritis and bursitis. If you don't know what bursitis is, inside of every knee, there's a little cushion. It's called the bursa sac. It wears away as you get older, and it wears away if you do things like that. And you literally have to go to a doctor to get it reinflated, and it's terrible. So I make sure in the winter, I'm always wearing 2 or 3 layers. I always have on long johns. I don't care if this is TMI, it's the name of the channel. Every time I've done something in this market, every time I've invested, every time I bought real estate, and I sat there and I was like, okay, that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. I keep it in the front of my mind. Don't do that again. It did not work out. This loop that we're seeing in the cryptocurrency space, it's crazy because some of you have been here for BitConnect. And I'm seeing people putting money into these projects that you know aren't real. And I sit there sometimes, I'm like, maybe I'm not giving enough energy. Maybe I'm not explaining myself enough that people shouldn't be in these projects. Because I sit there and I go, I want to hear. I don't want my knees to hurt. Same exact thing with, like, for those of you, I mean, not that you need to know, I only drink water and tea. That's it. Because I've seen what happens when you ingest other things. Like, it's crazy. And then I go, okay, cool. In the financial world, people will clearly understand. I've made 3,000 videos on this channel. 99.9% of them have had Bitcoin somewhere in it, or Ethereum, or XRP. It's very clear where the money's going. And then to see people online that I know watch this channel, because you like sometimes like people pop up on the Twitter timeline, and I see people being like, well, I'm down like 87% in my portfolio because I bought bonk and dunk and chunk and lunk. And I'm like, what? You watch my videos. What are you talking about? You worked hard for the money that you made. It is your money. For the love of goodness, please pay attention to where you put your money in all aspects. Stop buying stuff you don't need. Start saving more. Make an emergency fund, and please stop buying these terrible coins. The problem is that they're going to rope you in again. When we get to $100,000 Bitcoin, the news of these coins is going to also push back into the spotlight, and everyone's going to rush back to them. And then when they collapse once again by 99%, people will be, oh my gosh, I thought that this was the coin to buy. You know it's not. You know it's not. You know that it's not. So, Sandbox purchased a whole bunch of garbage. And I mean, listen, you got to be honest with yourself. Let's see what ends up happening with these things. But I assume they're holding on to them for the next hype cycle. And then they're going to sell them. And they probably have a lot of them. And those coins will flush back onto the market. In some way, I hope that you've enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be on this very weird planet. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.